Hey Kaylee, it's Dr. Scott. So I have some feedback for you on your Essay 2, your visual analysis draft. I think what I'll be able to cover in this screencast is your thesis statement, like the argument that you're trying to get across, and your use of detail to support that thesis statement. There are other issues like organization transitions, how you're integrating paraphrases, MLA formatting. There's other things that we could talk about. But it's the thesis statement and the supporting details. Like that is the most important issue for you to address right now. You'll need to address organization. You'll need to make sure paraphrases are integrated. That'll come later. But right now it's thesis statement and supporting details. So right now, the paper, it's for me, I think this is the thesis statement right here. So the murals I chose were the Flood of 1937 and the one that had a view from the Kentucky side. They show how beautiful and how tragic Portsmouth can be. Okay, like, I kind of buy that. You do this thing later on, though, in your essay where you write about pride, and you do actually a really eloquent, like I really liked what you had to say about pride later on in the paper. That's not here in the thesis statement. I kind of think it should be because it's actually really persuasive, and it's something that I think you seem to kind of care about. So I think the thesis statement really isn't doing justice to what it is you're trying to argue. The other thing that's missing here is the how. How do the murals get that pride idea across? How do the murals get the tragedy idea across? How beautiful and tragic the town can be. How do the murals do that? That is the big next step for you in this paper. Because right now, when I take a look here, like, a lot of this is just kind of summarizing something that you saw in the mural. And in this other paragraph, it's kind of summarizing the other mural. And that's a problem when you try to split the murals up and do one paragraph about one mural and then another paragraph about another mural. You're not actually kind of having a unified argument. And typically I see folks just kind of summarize what's going on in the murals. So to fix this, what needs to happen is you need to figure out exactly what it is you're trying to argue. So is it pride? Is it the tragedy and beautiful thing? Like, I think you need to make up your mind there. And then you also need to do something like this. The use of, and once you're able to start answering that, those become your paragraphs. Whether it's the use of color or the action that they depict, there's a lot of different things. And what I actually noticed when I read your draft is that in this first body paragraph, there's a few things that you mentioned. Like you mentioned stillness, the way that the mural uses stillness. That's in both murals. That might be something that you write about, write a paragraph about, how stillness is used, how action is used. You write about things that are lighter and darker. So I think that there's things that you can kind of break up. And you can write about both murals, like you can write about how they use lightness and darkness. That could be great. That could be a paragraph in and of itself. You could also write about how action is used, how stillness is used. That's the how that can kind of come up here. That needs to then be your body paragraph. Once you're in your body paragraphs, that's the next thing to talk to you about, and that's your use of detail. So if you have detail in your paragraphs, you need to explain how those details help make that argument that you're trying to get across, that there's pride or that there's tragedy or beauty in the murals. And you do that in places, like I see you trying to do a little bit of that here, but it's difficult for me to understand how it's tied to that overall argument, because I don't think you have completely figured out what that overall argument is at that point, or at this point. So I think that's kind of the feedback that I have here. Is this paragraph right here makes me think that, like, okay, this is actually a different essay that Kaylee is starting to think about, which kind of replaces the tragedy and the beauty thing. So again, making up your mind what it is you're writing about there, and then figuring out that how, being able to complete this stuff, this right in here, that's really the next step. So, quick summary of where you need to go from here. Focus your thesis statement, figure out how that pride is presented. So how are they kind of representing pride? Those become your body paragraphs. Once you have body paragraphs, make each paragraph focus on one way that both murals convey that sense of pride, or if you do the beauty or the tragedy thing, what have you. Each paragraph focuses on one way both murals convey that idea. Explain your details in the paragraph and connect everything back to pride or tragedy or beauty, whatever is the focus of your essay. But most of all, get it together. All right. That's it for now. If you got questions, let me know. I'll be in my office tomorrow morning, and you can shoot me an email. We can find a time to chat. All right. Talk to you soon.